Hello, and thanks for stopping by. This is The Empire Strikes Back for the Commodore 64, and I'm playing this game on a C64 Maxi console. This is a free homebrew game, released by Megastyle Games. I'll put a link to a download in the video description. I'll also put in a link to another YouTuber, Bastich B 64K, who has this really great Commodore channel that I've been following. His channel was the one that actually alerted me to this game, and for that I thank him. So this is the Empire Strikes Back Atari 2600 game, just rebuilt for the Commodore 64. Now the 2600 game, it was great. I don't want to make that one sound bad in any capacity. It was a super popular game, and I got a review for that one as well too. Here, they took the basic concept of the Atari version and they flushed it out into something that's quite awesome and unique for the Commodore 64. The original Atari game, I sunk tons of hours into it when I was a kid, but it certainly had its limits. There was no real introduction, there were no officially delineated stages, and there was little variety and no endgame. It was something that you just played over and over and it kept repeating until you died or you got bored. This game kind of takes all of the parts of the 2600 version that console was sort of unable to offer, and it flushes them out. There is a basic story here. You're piloting a snowspeeder, and you're fighting waves of Imperial mechs, while the rest of the rebels try to evacuate their base. The enemy is trying to make it past you to the base generators, and if they get to those, they'll blow the whole base up. We have 8 stages of gameplay while this escape is happening. And we start with a loading screen. This was a very common thing with Commodore 64 games. It was often something that they used to pass the time while the rest of the game was loading. As it turns out, apparently the Commodore 64 hardware had a failure in the way it loaded games off the disk drive. There were things you could do to mitigate it, I guess, long term, but for the most part, it just naturally loaded games slower than it needed to. So, to fill up that time, we get a great picture and we get a bunch of music. Here we're talking Star Wars theme all the way, but in Commodore SID chip synth glory. It's awesome. We also get individual stages, and I think this gives you a sense of accomplishment when you advance on to the next one. In the 2600 game, I guess you advance, but it really just resets the playing field. Things get faster and harder as a result. There's not really level delineation, or not like they do it here, so you don't really get that same satisfaction of beating a wave. Here, we have stage screens to mark progress, and you get variation in stages as you move forward. Variety is so great here. We get these awesome backgrounds with considerably more detail than what the Atari offered. We have mountains, we have a sky, we have different colors, different textures and grades. Also, when you advance to other stages, the colors are going to change. At one point, it's almost like you're fighting this battle at night. You also get to fight more than a standard AT-AT walker. The first level, you actually fight an AT-ST walker. This is the shorter type of a carrier with only 2 legs, and you have to fly lower to the ground to get to them. As a fan of the 2600 version, where you only fought AT-AT walkers, seeing an AT-ST model in this game was great. The second stage, you actually get to fight an AT-AT walker, and then as you progress, the various stages will start to mix and match between the different types of walkers, and they will include more of them in the stage as well. It's a great mix of variety, and it helps ramp up the difficulty as you go. Great pacing. Also, every now and again, an Imperial probe droid is launched out of a walker, and you have to race around to try and destroy it. What a great addition! I wasn't expecting this. As soon as it launched, I knew exactly what was happening. Very cool. You also get the occasional flashing weak spot on the bigger walkers. These are actually harder to hit compared to the 2600 version, I think. And so far, I've been unable to nail a shot. The big walkers here, I think they look great, and they have more detail. They're not just a simple one-color silhouette. They just look great. They've got armor plating and texture, and as you shoot them, the armor displays damage. What a great addition to the game. When you clear the enemies of a stage, you're also going to see an escape carrier flying across the screen. These are the rebels that you've managed to save, and they're zapping off into space. and then the next level will begin. This repeats every time you beat a stage, until you beat the final stage of the game and get to the endgame zone. The Millennium Falcon flies across the screen at that point. I've seen it on other videos. I haven't triggered it yet because I haven't beaten the game. It was really cool to see. So this is a great homebrew game. It's an homage to a classic 2600 game, and it was clearly well thought out and built with care. The detail and variety here is top-notch, and it handles great and is fun to play. I can only imagine how well this game would have sold if it was released back in the Commodore 64's heyday. Well, that's all I have today for The Empire Strikes Back for the Commodore 64. If this is your type of video, please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel and all that good stuff, and thanks for stopping by to take a look. Hope to catch you on another video.